believe that we have Jen Howard, who's going to be up first, and we're here today just to talk a little bit about some national efforts and enhancements for 2024 that are taking place across the country, either through our national contracts, which are the Central Core, sorry, Central Core Campaign Services contract, or the National Campaign Recruitment contract, and also some efforts that are taking place through the local zone outreach coordinator contracts. And so, Jen, if you are here, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away and start first.
All right, I am here. Victoria, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Howard. I'm with MP May, one of your outreach coordinators, providing local outreach coordinator services to 21 zones alongside Victoria Adams, Tribal Tech Global Impact, who provide local zone outreach services to 15 zones. I guess it's now 14 now that you've merged your Chesapeake Bay and National Capital Area campaign into the Mid-Atlantic region. It's a mouthful. So for local zone outreach coordinator services as a contractor, what we do is we provide the front end services to campaigns, marketing, outreach, education, training to federal employees, equipping them to provide campaigns across their agencies and offices this fall. So what's new this year or refreshed, being reimagined this year for our campaigns across our 21 zones is in-person events and trainings. We recognize that the federal government is making a strong effort to return to the workplace while acknowledging the hybrid environment that exists. So while we will be providing in-person events, trainings, kickoffs, et cetera, across our 21 zones, we are also preparing to bring the hybrid model to your agencies, and that we will be able to both be there in person and bring external employees that might be working from home into the workplace through some technology advancements that we have prepared for this fall. We've also opened up a CFC office in Fort Worth, Texas. So again, in line with the government going back to the workplace, CFC is doing the same. Also, very important, and it's been talked about throughout this training, is educating new hires. But I see it as more than just new hires. Since the pandemic, we've heard from several agencies that during the pandemic, since the pandemic, there's been an influx of hiring of federal employees. These federal employees don't exactly know what they're missing in that, the days of chili fairs or silent auctions, those events that so many of us are used to and looking forward to bringing back. We have a seriously large population of employees, existing federal employees, that are not familiar with this program. And so it's not just new hires that we are looking to educate. We are looking to outreach to those existing employees who, during their onboarding session, for one reason or another, were not informed about the CFC, or because they have worked remotely since they've onboarded with the government, have not been touched by a peer-to-peer invitation to participate. So we will be leveraging our 2024 Loan Executive team this year, empowering them and challenging them to identify ways to reach these existing employees and new hires, and how to best promote, educate, and present the campaign to these individuals in a way that makes sense for them to consider CFC as their pathway for giving. So those are some of the things, some of the many things that MP May is working on for the 24 campaign this fall as your outreach coordinator. And so that's what I have. And I believe up next is Victoria. I think I turn it back over to you if I remember the deck correctly.
You got it, Jen. Thank you so much. So totally in agreement with Jen on her national efforts as well. So you are, I think, on both sides, whether it's NPM or whether it's Tribal Tech Global Impact, you are going to see more in-person events, more people just out there trying to make that in-person contact, more training more in-person training taking place. So you will be seeing that I wanted to just talk a little bit about national campaign managers because I know that last year there was some confusion about national campaign managers across the country. Um, Out of the newly merged zone, and I think you may have been hearing a little bit about the newly merged zone this year. So the National Capital Area Zone, Zone 32, merged with the Chesapeake Bay Area Zone this year. And so that merger created Zone 39. And so that is a merged zone this year, and it's now the Mid-Atlantic Area Zone. And out of that zone, we do have quote unquote headquarter campaign managers or national campaign managers. And this year there are about 10 of those this year. Last year there were a little bit less, but this year there are about 10 of those national campaign managers this year. And I think we should really always look at those national campaign managers as a resource. They're there to support local efforts, and they're there to work in partnership. So it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. If you're a campaign manager, wherever you're at in the country, always look at them as a resource, look at them as a partner, reach out to them, reach out to the outreach coordinators that are working in that Mid-Atlantic zone, and partner up, and let's try to be as successful as we can and raise as much money as we can for those charitable organizations in our local communities. And so, again, national campaign managers, there's about 10 of them officially this year. There's also some unofficial ones that may not have been officially appointed, but who are trying to implement best practices. And so that also happens. And they are attending meetings and trying to, again, learn some best practices, do the best that they can, and offer as much support as they can to local zones across the country. So just keep that in mind. And again, look at them as a resource, look at them as a partner, look at them as a national campaign manager that wants to support you in your local efforts. And the other thing that's taking place, I would say across the country is DAO updates. And so some of you who work the campaign, you love to get those reports. I know you do. And I know those reports are important to campaign managers across the country. I know those reports are important to leadership across the country. We understand that, and you all understand how important those reports are. It's kind of garbage in and garbage out, right? If the structures are set up properly in the pledging system, we get wonderful reports out of the system. And so we need to keep the DAO, what we call the DAO, or those campaign structures. We need to keep that information up to date as much as possible. We are working hand in hand with Jen Howard and her folks over at NPM we worked with them this past year to try to set up a system to where we try to keep that DAO as clean as possible. We want to respect everybody's work in this area, and we want to just ask that everybody work with your outreach coordinator, work within the systems and the processes that we're trying to set up the process that we're trying to set up with each outreach coordinator, and the process that we're trying to set up between each outreach coordinator, so that those changes that may be necessary to the structures go through each outreach coordinator and are looked at and are reviewed by the outreach coordinator, so everybody understands what's going on, what structures are being asked for, and what changes are being requested before they go into the system and changes are made. We know how important those office numbers are to you all, and so that when people are making those pledges, that those reports that are coming out of the CCA are as accurate as possible, and that those reporting numbers are as close to accurate as possible. So we want to make sure that that's as clean as possible. And so I think if we just can all work with our assigned outreach coordinators and the process that we're trying to work within, and again, just being good partners with each other, respecting all of our roles, and just trying to keep it as clean as possible, I think is going to be really important this year. And we've done a lot of work in the back end, a lot of communication in the back end to try to make it work this year. And so, and make it as easy as possible for everybody. So those are some of the, I would say, national efforts that have been taking place behind the scenes this year to try to make it a good campaign for everybody. And now I'm going to turn it over to Samantha Barrett, who's going to give us a little bit of information on the Centralized Common Support Services contract.
Hey, Victoria, before Sam takes over, just to
Yes.
stay on the topic of the local OC contract and this forward-facing role that we both play across the country as the contractors providing these services. There was a question that came through in the chat. How do you determine who provides support in an agency if it goes over multiple zones? And so it's a great question. As Victoria and I have explained, there's two teams here, Tribal Tech and MP May. The SET group is going to drop our contact information into the chat. You can also go to the website, givecfc.org is a great resource, and go to under the About tab, you'll see the drop down local zones where you can go and click on a zone, and that'll point you to the right point of contact, your outreach coordinator, whether that's Victoria or somebody from her team, or myself or somebody from my team to get in touch with, because we do both, Tribal Tech, Victoria's team and my team, work with every federal agency across all these zones, different regions, et cetera. And as Victoria said, we work very closely behind the scenes to communicate and ensure that we are providing consistent instruction in line with the training, the marketing, et cetera. But also we recognize that as outreach coordinators, we do some things a little differently, whether it's little incentives, tchotchkes. Victoria might have something different or better than I have to offer. We just don't know. So it is important that you know who your point of contact is. Go to givecfc.org, local zones. Thank you, Bruce, for dropping that into the chat, and determine who you are working with to ensure that you are communicating with the correct contractor. So thank you for that question, whoever asked it. Appreciate it. Over to Sam.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm excited to kind of share some of the updates for the centralized common support services that are being implemented this year for 2024. We're pretty excited. We have some really great enhancements to share with you that are going to really help support the entire campaign nationwide across both outreach coordinators, all zones will have opportunities to use these different enhancements. So Victoria, if I could go to the next slide, please. First of all is the help desk. There are multiple different help desks. There's a help desk for general CFC communication that comes through the Centralized Common Support Services CFC Support Help Desk. There's one for charity relations. There's one for OPM. There's multiple. There's one for national marketing. So the CCSS team worked with national marketing to help them develop a streamlined contact us. So it's on the national website, you'll see that there's drop downs now where you can go there, you can answer a question, and then it will direct you to another question. You'll answer that question, and it directs you to the correct help desk. So if you want to go directly to a specific help desk, you can do that. Also, we implemented an automated email forwarding through CFC support. So if you contact the general CFC support help desk, the team will then be able to determine if that needs to go to a more specified help desk, and it will be automatically forwarded. If you have communicated through our help desk before in previous years, and maybe it was a question that was more technical, maybe it was a regulatory question, where maybe it was a charity question, then we would direct you to contact the correct help desk. We've really kind of made that a lot smoother now, so that your email will go directly to the correct help desk, rather than there being any breaks and you having to type that information all over again. So really working to collaborate with all of the teams to make it more of a centralized, streamlined effort for you to get the answers to the questions you have. Improving automated emails. We do have automated emails that are set up through CFC support. We started CFC support for the centralized, has been in a couple of years now. Of course, everything gets updated. There's lots of different changes that happen. So we have reviewed every single automated email that goes out of the system, improved the communications, made them a lot more condensed to really ensure that you're getting the answers that you need. And able to quickly review them and clarify any questions you have. So lots of improved automated emails there. And then finally, customer service feedback. For any help desk request that comes through to the general CFC support help desk, there will be a feedback form that gets sent to you. So when your request is closed, you'll receive a notification saying that request is closed, and it will request your feedback. We do ask that you provide feedback, please, whether it's positive. Of course, we love to hear all the good positive feedback, but if there are any issues too, we want to hear that as well. So please look out for those requests when they've been closed, asking for your feedback. Definitely excited about some of the enhancements this year. Really want to be able to make sure that we're supporting everyone, all CFC stakeholders, whether it's getting them to the right place to get the correct answer, whether it's us helping to answer their questions for them. Next slide, please. And huge enhancements made this year for events management. So of course, the events management system, we heard Victoria, we heard Jen talking about the engaging more in events, whether it's hybrid events that are virtual combined with in-person, whether it's in-person events or whether it's virtual events. We want to make sure that every stakeholder that's involved in event management, whether that's a campaign manager, whether that's a charity, are supported in the entire process. So we did make some enhancements. Some of them you will have already seen. The pre-registration process. So an invitation with a link to the registration form was sent out in the approval letters to the charities through the OPM approval letter. There was a link in there. There was actually two links. There was a link for the virtual charity fair, and then there was a link to pre-register to participate in events. That has really, we've had a lot of response from that. And what that's going to do is help us to load up the CFC support system, the event management system in advance. It's going to give us kind of a lead so that when the final listing of all charities, we've kind of maybe done 50, 60% of that load to the system. And we can get invites out quickly as soon as we're able to accept those invitations. So really excited about that. If you haven't already registered yet, please do so. After my presentation, I will put the link to register to participate in events in the chat. In addition, for local zones, new this year, we received a lot of feedback. Of course, local zones may cross over to zones that are bordering each other. And so for the first time this year, we have opened it up for local charities to be able to select one additional zone to participate in. So if you're a local zone, you can select the zone that you applied and registered for, but then also you can select one additional zone to participate in events in. Also new this year, event feedback. We have also created a more automated process. At the completion of an event, once the event has been completed, an automated email will go out to the charities that attended the events, and it will ask for their feedback on the event. So it'll ask for feedback on the event process, use of the system, the invitation process, and then it will also ask for feedback on actually attending the event. How was the event, and do they have any feedback for that? So we're really looking forward to obtain that information. We did work with a lot of charities at the end of the campaign last year to get lots of feedback, and that really has tied into a lot of the system enhancements and the processes that we're implementing. So we want to continue that work and just make sure that we're fully supporting you. Improved automated emails. Again, we have multiple automated emails in the event management system, whether it's starting from the initial invitation, whether it's confirming that you've been added to the event or you've been put on the wait list, or whether it's communications going out to campaign managers, confirming the list of charities that are attending. We've cleaned up those emails. We've made them a lot more condensed, a lot more easier to read information and instructions. So you'll notice that if you're used to the system and you're used to receiving the emails, you'll notice that there's a lot cleaner emails that have been sent out also. And then also enhanced event reporting. We have multiple reports that are available in CFC support. So whether you're a charity, whether you're a campaign manager, you can communicate with OC staff and they can pull these reports from CFC support. Whether it's as a federation, you want to know how many charities have attended the event, whether it's a local charity and you want to know how many invitations you've received, or maybe a campaign manager, you want to know how many events you've hosted and how many charities have attended your event. We've got lots of data we're able to pull. These are Power BI reports, so they're nice looking, they're clean, they're easy to read. So if you need any information on events, please feel free to reach out to your OC so they can provide that to you. So that's some of the enhancements we're excited about for event management, help desk, for the centralized common support services. Again, if anyone has any questions, they can contact our general CFC support. I will add that email in the chat as well, along with the event registration for charities. We're looking forward to a successful 2024, and really any feedback you have, send it on to us so we can really help to support and ensure that you have a successful campaign. Thank you. And I believe, Mike, it's over to you next.
Thanks, Samantha. And it's exciting. I know for many of the charities, the event system and how that operates is a key to the benefit for them participating. So thank you. We're excited to dive into that. For national charity recruitment, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about just real briefly were things that were brought up yesterday by Keith and others. You know, we need more charities in the campaign, as was pointed out yesterday and has been proved for the last 7 years. If you lose charities, you will lose donors. And so we hear it from federal employees, we hear it from donors, we hear it from volunteers that the charities that used to be in the campaign weren't. And I think that's being addressed by OPM, and we look forward to outreach into charities. Hopefully there will be some regulatory relief. Hopefully there will be some cost reduction. And as soon as that happens, your outreach coordinator will reach out to those charities, because as was also mentioned yesterday, the turnover rate in nonprofits has increased by about 100%. What used to be a 18-month tenure for some development department employees is now a 9-month tenure. And so those people need to get re-educated to the campaign. They need to get walked through the best in class account information that's on the charities account at cfccharities.opm.gov. If you have a new person in there, when they get into that site and they see all the information that CFC retains for these charities year over year, it makes their application processing easier. It makes their thanking donors easier, promoting the campaign easier, tracking designations. And so often what we do is help those folks understand the benefit that this site provides them, and utilizing it throughout the campaign year, throughout the application process, throughout the thanking the donors process, which all charities should be doing right now. As soon as September starts, you need to go into your account at cfccharities.opm.gov, download those names of folks that have given to you in the past, and thank those donors. Even if they didn't give to you last year, they could have given you 2-3 years ago. Emails still work. They still supported you, and you want to remind those donors. So those are the things we do with charities. And then we also want to thank the National Marketing OC for having the Refer a Charity under the About in the campaign at CFC Giving, givecfc.opm, givecfc.org. I'll get it. And there, under About, you can refer a charity. And so many federal employees have come up to us, and we've been collecting these over the years, but it's also on the website now, where a federal employee can go in and say, I don't see this charity. I'd like to have somebody outreach to them, because if they were in the campaign, I'd give to this charity. So those are some of the things that we're doing. Again, we're looking forward to to increasing outreach this year, and I know OPM has focused on that goal of increasing the number of charities, and we're here to support them. And I think we're going to have a tremendously successful 2024, and also looking forward to outreach beginning for 2025 when the application period opens December 1. So thank you all. I guess any questions that me or my esteemed colleagues can answer in the chat?
There were some questions coming in, and it was funny. I got co-host responsibility privileges in the middle of it, and I started realizing I could chat with everybody. So that was fun. We did provide the link for where to register for events this year. So please, charities, go there to register. If you're a federal employee and there is a charity you would like to see in next year's campaign, we also dropped the link in there for how to refer a charity to the program. So both those links are in the chat. I'm not sure, Sam, is there a deadline for providing the point of contact for attending charity events from the charity? Or can they do that at any point? Are they able to update that, add, sometimes the charities have volunteers that table these events, etc. So there was a question about deadline for providing that person's name and whether or not they could continue to provide those names throughout the campaign.
Yeah. They can provide the names throughout the campaign. That's fine. What they will need to do is they will need to contact us at CFC support so we can edit that information in the registration system.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it can continue. You can register, you can register if you haven't already registered, and it's the middle of the campaign and you didn't register and you want to register, then you can do that too. Sooner the better, because you've got more opportunities, but you can update as you go. It's just if you register and you want to update your information, that needs to come through CFC support. The charity needs to change that with us, so we can change it in the system.
Sam, do they get any type of confirmation that they are registered? How would they know, or how could they verify that they're registered in the SIM system after the fact?
Again, they can contact us. Send us just send us a communication, and we can verify it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
I think that covers all the questions that I saw come in.
Thank you.
Sam, Samantha, there was a question there that came into me asking, will there still be a 2-day turnaround on charity events?
There is in the invitation, it's a 2-day turnaround. So we request RSVPs within 48 hours. Because if you're not going to attend, if you please respond no, because then that means that opens up the opportunity for us to invite other charities. So that's why there's a 2-day turnaround. But that doesn't mean if you haven't responded within 2 days, you can't respond. You can still respond. It just means that within 2 days, then if we know we've got spaces, we're going to continue to invite more charities at that 2-day mark.
Okay. So if they respond and if they take their time and it's day 4 and they respond, there is a possibility that there's a greater possibility that spaces have filled because you've sent out a second round of invitations. Exactly, correct. Yes. Yeah, the sooner the better. And please, I know that's one thing that we have noticed, that if charities are not attending, we don't necessarily always get a response saying no, they're not attending, but that is really helpful for us or for anyone that's managing invites. The sooner you can respond and you're not attending or you are attending, the better, because then we can give more charities more opportunities to participate and longer to make a decision. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. And if you have responded and registered, when will you hear where you're signed up to go? Like if you respond to a charity event, when do you hear about where to go and what to do? Once event invitations are starting to be processed, then that's when invitations will go out. They randomize and then they go out. So I would expect invitations probably to start being processed September the 1st, because of course we need to have the full charity listing to have all charities
that have registered loaded in the system. So I would think that you could probably start receiving invitations September 1st. If you're not sure that your registration went through, you should have received confirmation that your registration was submitted when you completed the form. If you're not sure that it was successful, please shoot us a message and we can verify that and let you know.
Okay.
And I did get the question again about how do we know who our OC is? So I went ahead and I dropped the updated map for this year onto the chat, the CFC zone map by Outreach Coordinator. You'll notice that the blue states are the states covered by MP May, and then solid green is Tribal Tech, with green states Georgia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, I believe, have lines through them because those states have dual coverage where CFC zones overlap those states that are covered by both Tribal Tech and MP May. So hopefully that helps everybody to know where they're at, who's covering their area. And again, of course, givecfc.org, local zones, is where you can find more specific contact information as well.